Hello, everyone. Hello, party people. DannyVNCR and Evan Halfmann, Red Llama. Back with the first cut. Evan, how's it going?
On Star Wars Day, May the 4th be with you. You told me not to say that.
Hang on. I gotta stab you real quick. Today is May the 4th of 2019. We're here with a genre we've been meaning to do for a very long time. Gonna waste no time getting into it. Our first pick, Wild Throne, Harvest of Darkness. The genre is progressive metal. We've kind of put this one off for a while, merely because we wanted to make sure we did it right. And I think we're doing that today. What do you think, Evan?
Yeah, prog metal, progressive metal, whatever you want to call it. This shit, I think, has been kind of flowing through our veins since this is
about a decade.
Yeah, I mean, this is our I was about to say our wheelhouse, and then I realized that will have been the third episode in a row where I've said the term wheelhouse.
Really?
Yes. So fuck it. That's my catchphrase.
Yeah,
it is
pretty much.
It's our wheelhouse. It is our. That's where kind of we got started in our own careers and whatnot. So this is definitely a special episode. This is fun. I love progressive metal, man. It's just like,
yeah, me too.
I think it's all about like technicality and great riffs and great arrangements, but also being very like cerebral and really pushing the envelope. You know, it's not
absolutely.
It's not about it's not a generic boring genre.
Yes.
So,
and I certainly want to talk more about that here momentarily, but just prior to talking more about progressive metal and what we love about it, I first want to state this is a drinking game episode 20. We do them on the fives. Today's rule, as I've listened to all of our podcasts almost obsessively recently, I've decided anytime Evan or I say the phrase, "That's crazy," after right now,
that's crazy.
After yeah, okay. After the explanation, you dickhead.
I just kind of wanted to drink a little bit.
Well, you can, but let's get into this first.
Okay.
Yeah, anytime we say that's crazy, that's a shot right there. So, from here on, that being said, the band we're reviewing first, Wild Throne, it's out of Bellingham, Washington, which is essentially where we hail from, which is fucking crazy. But furthermore, they are no longer together, which is really unfortunate. I actually have done a fair amount of research into this and the next band. They're no longer together. This album came out in 2015. It was their last album, which oddly was, or I should say awesomely, was released on Roadrunner Records, which is really cool.
It's definitely got that production quality, like no bullshit.
Oh yeah, this
doesn't sound like this is recorded in a basement. Man.
No.
Sounds like Roadrunner had they had some funding.
So that being said, because I've mentioned they are no longer together, Noah Burns, the drummer, Josh Holland, the guitarist, and Jeff Johnson, the bassist, I believe are all doing their separate things, although I'm not sure what Jeff is doing these days. But if you'd like to listen to Noah at current, he is with a band called Melancholia. Josh, the guitarist, is with a band called Earth Years. And if you're just really not getting enough, you can check out their previous band, Dog Shredder.
Dog Shredder. Why does that ring a bell? Dog Shredder.
Because you and I are very grounded in the local music community, and you've probably heard the name before.
I think I bought one of the records one time a couple of years ago.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
So, Wild Throne, Dog Shredder, Earth Years, and Melancholia, all stemming from from this, and that's pretty awesome. These guys are awesome. They make really fucking sick music that
yeah, dude, I'm just grooving. I mean, this is one of those. Now we're, I think last week, my faithful companion was the one who didn't do any pre listening, but now I'm in that position. Mm-hmm. But I'm just digging it. It's fun. I mean, it's nice just to go into these because I'm just kind of discovering this page. I'm trying to peer my eyes over to the page while keeping my mouth in front of the microphone. So we finally upgraded Evan to that SM7B like I've had for all of this time now. So now we have unified. Now we're gonna be famous.
Yeah,
we're broadcasters now, baby.
We're broadcasters now. So if you wondered why, I go, damn, Evan's voice sounds super good this episode. Well, that's why.
Hopefully I'll stop thinking my voice sounds so froggy.
So froggy. But, funny enough, we have exactly 3 picks today. There's no surprise fourth or anything like that, following our typical rule of doing only 3.
No surprises.
2. Could I finish my story?
I just want to make sure people don't get freaked out by surprises. No surprises.
No surprises. 2 of which, the first and second, are Washington locals, and that's fucking awesome. But I didn't happen to know either of them before making this list, so it's still true to the rules.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a fun little caveat that will come with that with the next band. But I'll tell you what, I sure would like to know these bands. So Noah, Josh, Jeff from Wild Throne, if you want to hang out and grab a beer sometime, hit us up or hit me up. I don't give a fuck what Evan thinks. I'll have a beer.
I'll drink a beer. Fuck yeah, dude.
Nobody cares.
Yeah.
And that goes for our next pick as well, but we'll get into that when it comes.
I'm just realizing, so is that like a mannequin? Because
know. It doesn't seem like it.
Really
you
looking
can see,
at
when you look at it, it looks like it's got flesh, it seems. I don't know too many mannequins with flesh.
Well, I know a couple.
Oh, okay. Well, as long as you do.
I am a flesh mannequin.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Flesh man. I am flesh man. Oh my god.
See, that's the fun one with this challenge is that it's so ingrained that I don't even know if we'll notice it half the time.
There's some hooch.
That's some hooch.
Some hoochie.
This drunken podcast brought to you by Woodinville Whiskey. Woodinville Whiskey. It's real good whiskey. You've heard it here again.
Sponsor us. Come on.
Seriously. It's a running joke at this point, but I should probably actually take my drink. It's a running joke at this point, but man, that would be fucking sick.
Yeah, man. So what's this shit in the background, this Redneck Riviera joint?
Who gives a shit? I'm talking about Woodinville Whiskey. I'm talking about the good shit.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, is that like some bottom shelf-ish or
probably?
What? So yeah, so it doesn't hold a candle to Woodinville Whiskey, which is great, amazing, smooth, brilliant whiskey.
Do it to him.
Such a beautiful color. I drink that shit every night, practically. Not in excess, of course.
I drink it every day. When I can't get it up, I go to my Woodinville.
Well, that's my
whiskey.
problem is that it keeps coming up, and I'm trying to get it down. So
yeah, fair enough.
I get the whiskey dick. It's an NSFW podcast. Remember.
No, show it to your kids. They'll appreciate it. Be like, Daddy, what's whiskey dick? Well, son.
Fuck, you gotta learn about that at some point, man.
Seriously.
The little birds and the bees.
When I was considering what to pour for this podcast, hang on, I like the cork noise. When I was considering what to pour for the podcast, I was going through my cabinet of liquors as I do, and I saw my brown sugar bourbon. I said, "Get that shit out of here!" And I threw it across the fucking room, and I hit Evan in the head.
Oh yeah.
And I found that good-ass Woodinville whiskey. Which, by the way, Woodinville whiskey, I'm almost out, and I keep seeing you guys make special edition shit. When am I going to get some of that?
get it. Let's get it, boy.
Seriously.
So what kind? Oh,
for that alone, I would drink Woodinville whiskey on every single. Can I fucking finish, please? I would drink it on every single drinking game just for having one special edition bottle. You heard it here first. You've heard it here again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, bourbon. This isn't my favorite shit, man. I love bourbon. Is like my favorite type of whiskey, and whiskey is my favorite type of alcohol.
I like their brandy more personally, their rye. I like their rye whiskey better myself, but the bourbon is still extremely good.
This bottle is thick, dude. It's such a great bottle.
Nice square glass. There's a little man living inside it.
That's no bullshit. Yeah, Woodinville whiskey.
Oh, God damn it. Again with this. Another goddamn Adobe update right in the middle of my fucking podcast. God bless it!
God bless it. Yeah, about this band, though. Let's talk about the band.
Let's talk about the band. What do you want to talk about?
Well... Oh, my God. Okay. I was about to just fall back on the usual tropes. The old, I like it. I dig it. It's groovy. It's hard for me to put my finger on what exactly it sounds like or what. Man. I mean, of course, I have things that immediately come to mind. Of course, I think like the vocals make me think like. Well, does it make? Hold on. Let me put on both headphones. This reminds me of I don't know. It vaguely reminds me of like every
Mars Volta.
Kinda, but it more so reminds me of like Every Time I Die.
Yeah.
Like it's like groovy. It's got like a heavy like groove metal aspect to it.
So let's talk too real quick. But I know you wanted to talk about the band, and we'll talk about the band. But first, a message from our sponsors. No, on the real. Yeah. Let's talk about progressive metal as a whole. Because I think that's really important, and I want to get into that before it gets too far away. Let's talk about progressive music. I want to talk about baseball.
Oh shit.
No. Progressive music in general. I want to have it on the record, and I'm pretty sure I do already, but what more appropriate time than now? When I think of progressive music, personally, and it's just my definition, but when I think of progressive music, my biggest thing is if I hear something and think, man, that sounds just like it's not progressive, period. If it reminds me of something that's a little different, but really more than anything, for something to be legitimately progressive means it has to be unique enough that it's doing something, even if to like the smallest degree, it's doing something that no one's ever really done. And granted, the less of that degree, I would say, the less progressive a band is, and it's significantly more arguable. But the higher that degree, the more it becomes less of an argument. So two bands that I think of that it would irritate me if anybody argued that they weren't progressive would be the Mars Volta and Between the Buried Me. Because very truly, at least for their times, nobody sounded like them.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And I mean, they were within their rock and metal genres, obviously, respectfully, so they weren't experimental bands. They were just
I still think no one sounds like Between the Buried Me. I think no one's figured out that recipe.
Yeah, and that makes them progressive AF.
Mars Volta are brilliant, don't get me wrong. I think they were such an influential band. But I think, I think their sound was a lot easier to copycat.
Sure.
I think, obviously, many bands took that and ran with it.
So, the only reason I bring this up is not so much to, I guess, get too far into my own head, as much as to say, you know, the biggest irritation I see, the biggest thing that irritates me, I'll say, when I see so many people talk about progressive metal specifically versus progressive rock, progressive metal is one band does something that's maybe slightly progressive, if even that, and 100 bands copy their sound almost identically, and people will be like, oh man, that band is so fucking prog. And I see people use progressive like it's a buzzword, and it drives me insane. And that's a big thing that happened with the quote unquote gent bands. They're like, oh man, they're super deep, man, that's prog as fuck. It's like, but that's not true. And there are bands that were making that sound long before they ever did, like Meshuggah. So just because a band sounds like a band that is arguably, if not absolutely, another progressive band, does not make them progressive. As a matter of fact, I would say it's quite the opposite.
Yeah.
And
well, yeah, progressive doesn't mean odd time signatures.
It doesn't mean that either, yeah. Or how much you can sound like fucking King Crimson.
Yeah.
And King Crimson is an incredible band. Easily one of the best progressive rock bands ever.
Yeah.
But but if you sound just like them, there's nothing progressive about it.
Yeah.
So anyways, my rant is over. Let's talk about the band.
Yeah. So let's see. Is this is what?
Or if you want to throw any 2 cents in there, I don't want to.
No, I mean I don't know. I'm gonna let that thought gestate, because I mean obviously I know your feelings, and I feel basically the same way. So
sure.
I mean I don't really have much to add. It's just man, it's frustrating. But yeah, let's see. This album's creeping along. So far, yeah, man, I really dig it. It's a sick band. It's really cool. They're local too.
Yeah. Oh, I guess one last thing I'll throw into that kiln is obviously for us to say any of these groups are progressive, nonetheless progressive metal, means we feel that way about this band. All of them. That like, yeah, I've never heard anything quite like this progressive. And I feel that way about this band. I feel that way about the next pick, and I feel that way about the third pick.
Yeah.
I feel that their sound is genuinely their own, and that's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, I gotta say about this band that it's like, so you know, when it comes when it's me and progressive metal, I mean, I love, you know, I love. I think my Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, you know, it would be my Triforce. Would be trifecta. No, I like Triforce better. Okay. Even though I never played Zelda.
That's a fucking shame.
It's a shame, yeah. Would be Between the Buried and Me, Opeth, and Dream Theater. I mean, I don't like Dream Theater as much anymore.
You can't deny what they do.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like
I don't care for them much either anymore.
Their pedigree is just too important. Their mark is too indelible.
100%.
On
just like when you look at classic progressive rock, I would put Rush in my my trifecta. I would put King Crimson in there too. But Rush had a massive influence on Dream Theater, but still, they don't sound like the same band.
Well, yeah, they're like Rush and Iron Maiden mixed together.
Yeah.
But yeah, so but the thing with, you know, of course, but again, to like, you know, go off of what you were saying a second ago. The thing with all three of those bands, they sound completely fucking different. None of those three bands sound like the other one.
Nope, not at all. Not even kind of.
Because you have Between the Buried and Me, and their emphasis is like groove, very like tight groove, and like odd sections that just pop in and out.
Would you say that? Because honestly, I think that's the biggest thing to me about Between the Buried and Me, is if I said, what do they emphasize more than anything, I would say nothing.
Well, I think. Well, look, when I say groove Between the Buried and Me, they have very strong tropes in their music, and mind you, I say tropes. I don't say cliches, but I say there are tropes in their music where they do this thing that you hear a lot, where they play with polyrhythm and stuff, but then they do this thing where it's just like the drums will be like
I know what you mean,
and that kind of thing. So it's like this
a lot of their
groove.
breakdowns are groove too. The breakdown in Augment of Rebirth actually has a pretty strong groove to it, despite the fact that it is crazy heavy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that EP is so sick. I mean, I
Parallax
think,
One, yeah.
Yeah, I think of course, I think it's the typical fanboy stance, but yeah, I feel like, okay, their first few albums were okay. They're good. Alaska's
talking about like their self-titled Alaska.
Yeah, Silent Circus is good. But Alaska, I never listened to Alaska when I
love Alaska.
Alaska's great. Yeah. Alaska's really good. But Colors, I mean, come on.
Colors changed the game.
Changed the game. To me, Great Misdirect was so fucking important to my
which is better, Great Misdirect or Colors?
Great Misdirect to me, because
I agree.
Yeah, Great Misdirect to me, misdirecting me. Okay, history.
Okay, that's
enough of that. No, that album to me, like, they were showing a different side of to me, Colors, ironically, because of the title, I mean, it sounds kind of darker, and it sounds like more
it's more like tight.
Yeah, it's more tight. Exactly.
Almost.
Great Misdirect was very groovy, and quite loose actually.
Yeah.
But like still very composed.
But still to this day, "Swim to the Moon" is my favorite Grammy song ever.
What an amazing album! That whole album is just fucking great. But so, to, I guess, keep on going with this, it's like you have Between the Buried and Me, who in my opinion emphasize groove with their music, but then you have Dream Theater and their big thing, I think, when you think of Dream Theater, I mean, you think the Odd Time Signatures, John Petrucci and those folks, that they love their crazy ass
think of the fact that
time
John
signature.
Myung is incapable of smiling.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I heard that he smiled at someone one time and they actually fucking died. So
I heard that too. That does make a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then Opeth.
Got a drink.
Opeth. What? I didn't even catch that one. Salute. That's two.
No, fuck. Ooh. It's smooth. I'm just being a wuss about it.
Yeah, same.
Anyways. So,
Opeth with their combination of Swedish folk and death metal is just fucking parallel.
Opeth to me are the thing that Opeth emphasized in their music is like
I'm gonna be out of Woodinville whiskey by the end of this.
Yeah, fuck. Well, I think what they emphasize is like songwriting, but like in the way of like I think I'm not mistaken in saying that Mikael Åkerfeldt composes his songs on like acoustic guitar with chords and everything before he then brings it to the band and then starts writing riffs. So to me, they always have.
I could see that.
They've always had a very strong like traditional folk and like just prog rock like core where like the song, the melody, and like
even their very first albums.
Yeah, and so. But of course, that's also like a trope of early Swedish death metal and black metal, and so totally distinct things, like very, very distinct. I mean, I hope I'm not like just. I mean, I love talking about this shit. I could talk about this shit for a while.
I could talk about it for hours, and I'm pretty sure we literally have. Not today, but just in general.
Yeah. But so but to get to like wrap this whole thing up, because I've been talking like a fucking
That's
lunatic.
okay. I talk over you, I think, way too much, so I think that's completely fine. Asshole.
So, yeah, but I was gonna bring it all back to like this band. What this makes me think of, and when I hear this kind of sound, I mean, I definitely think of, like I said, like Mars Volta.
Wait.
What we got?
She reminds me of like early Mastodon.
Yeah. Oh shit! I didn't think about that. You're right. Like Mastodon too. Mastodon's an amazing like prog metal, prog rock example. Like holy shit. But I think Mastodon is a great example too, in that they are a band that heavily emphasizes groove, but also just like a loose, just like southern rock, like
it's funny
playing behind the beat.
I feel like Mastodon is like they're one of the few bands that like they could legitimately be prog without trying.
Yeah.
I don't know how many bands I could genuinely say that about, or at least that I feel that would be the case, but I feel that way about Mastodon. Just the way like Brent Hines writes is like, it's so different.
Yeah.
It's just so good. Even their stuff that's like more in the pop.
And I mean, I won't lie, with
fucking good.
Mastodon, I really haven't joined them past Crack the Sky. I really love Crack the Sky, and ever since, I mean, obviously we're talking like ancient history at this point, like The Hunter or whatever, you know, that came out like
there's The Hunter, there's Once More Around the Sun, Emperor of Sand.
Yeah.
I think that was no, they did an EP recently. Cold Dark Place is what it was called.
So yeah,
I own everything they have. I fucking love Mastodon. They're easily one of my favorite bands of all time.
Yeah, and obviously there's some work on my part. Like I should, but you know, it's like obviously their early period where they had Leviathan and
Remission.
Blood Mountain, yeah. Blood Mountain, and it's like
the Mastodon.
Yeah. These albums were like incredible, like homages to like early prog rock, but they just had like their like hardcore punk, but like metalcore, but also sludge metal, but also fucking like sick, insane fucking prog metal, and just like
if you like metal and you hear the opening riff to March of the Fire Ants, and it just doesn't make you want to bang your head against the wall, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? It's so fucking good. It's so good. It's like akin to me of like when I listen to like fucking Stanga by Meshuggah, or god damn it, what was the name of that song? Rational Gaze. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. I've seen you get down to that song.
Yeah, fucking my neck hurts just thinking about that band.
Meshuggah's still kicking ass too. Not that I want to get too deeply into that, because I wouldn't say way off topic so much as like, I think focusing on the wrong thing. But hey, easy thing to get excited about.
Well, yeah, I guess it is a final thought or I guess final observation for me for this band is like, yeah, like I noticed, like I think about how like clearly this band like puts more emphasis, like less emphasis on like really tight like djenty grooves, which is great for me. I've never been into like the djent thing, so like when I hear like these kind of loose but like still really heavy, like slamming, like almost like punk rock style, just like that's my wheelhouse.
I like the djent tone, but it's so specific to the band. Like, I like Tesseract. I think Tesseract is great. Some of the things Periphery's done I really liked, but it's really rare that I fall into a band that I like that has that tone. Oh, and Polyphia is great. Not that you'd know anything about that. Anyways, Evan, you about ready to move on to our next pick?
Hit it.
But yeah, Wild Throne. Great pick. I don't have a pick of the week this week, I will say.
They're all the pick of the week.
They're all the pick of the week. They're so fucking good. I can't choose a pick of the week. They're fucking incredible. They're all incredible. And I'm not saying that the bands that we normally pick aren't, but like, come on. They're fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
Props to us for choosing good bands.
Oh,
you're so great.
You have no idea how hard it was for me to not say The Thing. The Thing. Don't you dare.
Insane.
I'm not counting it.
I know.
So on with the next pick. Okay, people, party people, other people, all of the people. We're back with our second pick, A Sense of Gravity, and their album, Attriment. I guess I got a lot of shit to scroll through real quick. Their first track, Drowning in the Ink. A Sense of Gravity, I discovered, as I do, just scrolling through progressive metal bands for literally days, if not weeks, and finding several that I'm like, these are good, and then, bringing them down as I do.
Fuck.
Right?
Jeez, that kind of just pops into existence.
This band is very, I'll say whimsical, not dissimilarly to the way that like Haken is, where some of their music definitely is a lot less like overtly serious than something like, let's just say, Dream Theater. I would say this band does have some similarities to Dream Theater, but they definitely have a lot of uniqueness too, and I'm really fucking into it. This band is from Seattle, Washington, for all who care, which should be everybody. The members are CJ Jenkins, the vocalist, Morgan Wick on guitar, Brendan Williams on guitar as well, Brandon Morris on the keyboard, Chance, I really hope I'm saying your last name wrong. Or not wrong, I hope I'm saying it right. Chance Unter Sayer on bass, and Pete Breen on drums. Don't step on my foot, you pig's asshole.
That's a crazy ass name.
I was saying that to you fucker.
No, you weren't.
And fun little fact, both Chance and I are both members of the Seattle area bass nerds. What's up, Chance? I don't know if we've ever actually met in person at like Emerald City Bass Con or whatever, but I do happen to know that we're both a part of that community, which I knew before discovering this band, but I did not realize that you were in this band. So it is still completely appropriate that I discovered this band by complete chance, no pun intended.
Holy shit. You fucking lunatic.
But so it still follows the rules, but I get to say hey to a local community member that I may or may not know. So what's up, buddy? How's it going? You been eating enough vegetables? I hope so. Or maybe not. I don't know. Whatever you're into.
Yeah. I don't have any personal connection to this band.
It's because you suck.
Nor do I have any personal connection with most of these bands because I'm a fucking hermit.
You don't have personal connections with anything other than your fucking left hand.
Yeah. Which is a current ongoing situation.
I didn't need to know that.
Yeah. Yeah, cinematic, definitely. Wow. But then as you previewed to me, here we go.
Wait, yeah. Well, let's let it breathe in.
Fucking wicked.
Yeah, that shit is fat.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I'm into it.
Yeah. So this, already, this is a good counterpoint to the previous band. It's prog metal, but totally different because I think
major contrast.
For one, I feel like the school of thought or the school of prog, I guess, that this band kind of thrives off of is how do you say, I guess just good guitar tone, and the instrumentals are kind of I definitely don't want to say the most important aspect of the music, but clearly there's a lot of attention to detail with the instruments, and I love that.
Which is funny too because great. While they're very, I think you're absolutely right. There's still a sense of
gravity.
That's crazy.
Oh fuck!
That's 3. That was intentional.
I'm gonna
it's still
die
3.
like fucking James Dean tonight. Fuck.
Oh yeah, you guys don't know he has to drive home. I don't. Fuck you.
Oh fuck. Woo. God, it's tasty. Fuck.
Here, hand me that cheap whiskey. I don't want to. I've got a splash of wouldn't go left. I don't want to waste it on your ass.
God. I'm not saying that fucking phrase anymore.
Oh, I'm gonna say it.
More, and I know what you're gonna say.
I forgot what I was saying because you fucked me up.
So if you say the phrase and I choose not to drink, am I fired from the podcast?
You're fired from my life.
Oh shit!
Man, it's such a different color.
Oh shit, dude.
Pour a little in my, actually, just switch with me. I didn't mean to pour that much.
Nah, that's what it is. Okay.
Be a good sport about it. No, they have a sense of like of humor and whimsy to their music. It's not like, oh, we've got to be so fucking serious all the time. Mm-hmm. That's my impression of a businessman.
We're serious all the time.
We're serious all the time. Listen to us.
Yeah, no, dude. I mean, yeah, totally. And like so out of this whole list, both of these have been his picks, but I picked the final band, and of course I won't spoil it, but...
Why don't you tell them why you picked the final band, Evan?
Why did I pick the final band? Why did I pick the final band?
Because my third pick wasn't good enough.
Oh yeah.
You're like, fuck you, as you always do.
Well, it was good, it was tasty, but you know, I'm just like, I was craving something a little sweeter.
To be fair, your pick is better, I'm just being salty.
God, that is thick.
Right? Oh, it gets better. It gets a lot better as you really get into it. I don't know if we'll get that far. We'll see. But
it reminds me of like, fuck, dude. It reminds me of Faceless like a little bit too.
Yeah,
shit.
Yeah. It pretty much reminded me like a mix between the Faceless and Dream Theater, or not Dream Theater, Haken. Not like identically those two, but a fair amount of aspects between both. I don't think the screaming sounds anything like the Faceless though, which I really like.
Yeah, definitely. I mainly just like the technical parts, and yeah. But I guess what I was gonna say is I get what you're saying with the sense of like non-seriousness, like, but you know that's, as people will see with the next pick. There's a very fun, whimsical sense to it, and I love that. I think that's such an amazing aspect of really just like metal music in general. It's just like I feel like there's a lot of potential for like escapism is the wrong word, but just like it can be like dumb fun, but it doesn't have to be fucking dumb. I mean, it's just good music. I like what commenter The Good down here said, in that he wrote, think metal musical comedy. And while I don't 100% agree with that, I think like the idea of like metal musical, I mean, actually I guess I would agree with that. It's got a little bit of like whimsy, like I said, but it does feel like symphonic, almost like a metal musical, like divine kind of shit. It reminds me a lot, frankly, of what I feel like Symphony X should have been more aiming towards, and I'm gonna get a lot of crap for that, and that is okay. I don't necessarily hate Symphony X, so I'm not trying to overtly talk shit about Symphony X, but they definitely are a band that has really cheesy aspects to their music, and it was not intentionally cheesy. Symphony X is legit the kind of band I will listen to if I want a good belly chuckle, a good just like hard laugh, just like it's cheesy, man. It's super cheesy. Especially if you watch the music videos, I mean, for fuck's sake. Oh, dude, yeah, that's true. Holy shit. Symphony X is, again, like I said, I wouldn't overtly say they're a bad band. I wouldn't say that they don't have some good songs or some songs even that I enjoy. Well, frankly, they're great. So for what they're doing, they're great. I mean, God, Michelangelo Badio. Wait, isn't that the name of it? No, that's someone else. Not Michelangelo Badio. No. That's another. What the fuck was I thinking of? I meant it's some other guy who has a very cool sounding name. Anyways, yeah, the guitar player is great. He's
Nommans.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know what his fucking name is.
He's Richie Valens. He's a virtuoso, and that's great. And all the members of the band are very talented, obviously.
Yeah.
And hey, man, I mean, come on.
I'll rest on what I said. I think their music is kind of cheesy, but in the ways that it is cheesy, it really does not feel like they meant for it to be cheesy.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Cheese that is obvious, I think, is completely fine, but when...
Well, I think that's like Between the Bear to Me's thing, is that they have a lot of cheese, but it's like very much on purpose.
Like the horse neigh and Disease, Injury, Madness.
And like the whole, like,
and
then like what, Ants of the Sky, you have like the whole banjo section. I mean, come on, man. This is like...
Banjo section and Ants of the Sky.
You know, like, it's like the whole melodic section. Are you
talking about like the bar fight?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think it's a banjo in there.
No, there is a banjo in there. You're absolutely right. But
yeah, that is completely
That's
cheesy.
not the part I think of. I don't think of the banjo. I think of the
bar fight.
The bar fight. The literal fucking bar fight. Yeah.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
no, it's sick.
What are you guys doing around there?
Yeah, it's badass, and it's like it's so playful and fun and cheesy, but like very on purpose, and that's great, man. Like,
think of Augment of Rebirth with all the farm animals right before the whole "Have I become a god?" Yeah. So great.
Now, I know I already said it earlier, but yeah, that EP is just too fucking good.
All of it.
What a great! It's just like it's like that EP is just so power packed. Full. There's not a boring second. It's just like such a thoroughly good, like enjoyable journey.
The only time in their musical career I ever felt remotely disappointed by Between the Buried and Me was when we met Dusty Waring, which is not at all to say I was disappointed with meeting Dusty Waring or talking with Dusty Waring, because that was fucking incredible.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
Oh yeah, talking about politics and TV shows and shit. But when we met Dusty Waring, and I had said, I really liked your last album, Coma Ecliptic, after hearing it, I can't wait to see what you guys are going to do in the future. And he kind of chuckled and said, we're never going to make another album like that again. That was the only time I was ever disappointed by Between the Buried and Me.
Yeah. Well, and then of course, they've come out with both parts of.
I don't give a fuck about Automata. I love Between the Buried and Me. The guys are great and all, but I just don't like it. And it's not that I hate the album. I think it sounds bad or anything. It's none of that. I just don't like it. I don't groove with it. And I haven't listened to Automata 2, to be fair. I've listened to a couple of tracks from it, but I have listened to all of Automata 1 several times. And I've talked to several people who are like, I didn't like it at first, but then I gave it a chance, and now I really like it. I still don't fucking like it. I hope I like the next thing they come out with, frankly, but I didn't care for Automata. I've liked everything else they've ever done, ever.
Well, I mean, and you know, I just hope that... And I think that they're making music that's sincere, that they really want to make.
I'm sure they are, and that's fine.
And honestly,
I can't dog on it.
Yeah, exactly. I think like
hard to say though. They are on Sumerian now.
Yeah, that's right.
Sumerian's pretty anal about their requirements.
Yeah, but
hey.
Yeah, back to A Sense of Gravity.
Real quick. Right before that, I followed a band for a while. They're also a local band called Numbers, fronted by Kyle Bishop. Who else was in that band? Ryan Majoris on bass, Victor Oliveira on, I hope I'm pronouncing his last name right, on drums. They're both doing their own things now, and that's awesome. But Kyle is starting to get back in the local music scene, which is sick. That being said, Numbers had done a regional between Battle of the Bands thing, and they won, and actually won a record deal from Sumerian, and read through the contract and went, no, we're not gonna do that. which unfortunately it seems shortly afterwards, and anybody who's better in the know, please correct me, but it seems like shortly after that fact they disbanded, which is very unfortunate. They were a cool band. They had a good thing going. Numbers, I sure miss you, Kyle, Bishop, and friends. I miss you guys' shit, but yeah, I listened to all the back and forths with the why they didn't want to go with Sumerian after reading the contract and talking with their lawyers and everything, and like it sounded shitty. That's all I'll say. So back to A Sense of Gravity. The quick deluge.
Yeah. Music politics.
I think music politics is extremely important. A lot of people don't like this theme. A lot of people don't seem to think that it is, or want to think that it is. It plays a pretty pivotal role in what people do. I mean, if your record label, who is responsible for putting bread on your table, says you have to do XYZ, you gotta fucking do it, or like work your way out of your contract somehow.
Well, and it's interesting to see,
it's
like
a big fucking deal.
Like, yeah, and I can't remember, like, because you told me the story, and I can't remember exactly what, and like, but that's not really the conversation I want to have about, like, what they disagreed with, but
Sure.
but I know that, like, obviously when it comes
We
to,
can
like,
talk about it off the.
oh
off
yeah,
air.
I mean, when it comes to a band's, like, a record deal or you know, their record label and how they could sway the you know, what they're working on, it's like there are many different ways, like, that they could do that. One, they could say, well, we love the album in every way, but we don't like the sequencing. We want you to sequence it differently, or we don't like that
Whatever.
song. We want you to take it off completely, or
they could overhaul the whole fucking thing.
yeah. And so obviously there are many ways that a record label could come in and completely change your shit. Obviously, when we're talking about big record labels like Sumerian or Roadrunner or something, they have a lot of pull to, like,
Fuck yeah, they do.
to
Absolutely.
say, hey, dude, you know what? We're paying you a lot of money. You better change this shit.
That's something, actually, funny enough, one of the biggest artists on Sumerian for a very long time was Periphery. Periphery, very recently, or somewhat recently, went solo. They completely canceled their contract with Sumerian, and now they're making their own music.
Yeah, it sounds like they could afford that too. I mean, they're one of those bands.
Yeah, they could, but that was the thing, is that they had a lot of disagreements with Sumerian, and you can read the back and forths between Periphery and the heads of Sumerian. I've read it. I have my opinions on it. I won't get into them here because it's a little too political and, quite frankly, career damning, I think. But yeah, I like a lot of artists on Sumerian, but that's not to say. Well, I've probably already said too much.
Yeah. Well, anyways, yeah, the Illuminati is just texting me. I'm just joking.
They said, stay where you are. You said, no problem.
No problem. Yeah.
I don't know if you realize this, Illuminati, but I'm right in the middle of something.
Yeah, anyways, let me just talk about that album cover. That's a fucking awesome album.
Oh, hell yeah.
Dude. It's so badass.
Funny enough, it kind of reminds me about exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
It seemed like somebody being forced to write something.
Yeah, no shit.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Thanks, A Sense of Gravity, for really illuminating.
Thanks, A Sense of Gravity.
Politics.
I want to do this over this. Oh, damn it. I wanted to do it over the pretty part. Thanks to Sense of Gravity for everything. Music, politics, the fun times, the music. Thanks for all the options of ways to buy your album, which are fucking pretty cool. Buy it with a t-shirt, buy the vinyl, kind of just like whatever you want. I like albums. I like buying them. I'm almost definitely gonna buy this one. I mean, digital album's $10. Not bad. Pay $10 for a good album.
Yes. For absolutely real. Well, cool. I feel like I've said my piece over A Sense of Gravity. We can let it breathe a little bit.
Absolutely. So let this one breathe, and then I think we'll go ahead and move on to our third installation. You ruined it. Well, good night, everybody. No, I'm just kidding. On with our third pick. And we're back with Parius and the Eldritch Realm. We're going to go ahead and get started with Into the Realm. I haven't heard this band that much because this was an Evan pick, but I do remember it sounding really good while I was in the other room making my constitutions. I was going to the bathroom, if you must know.
Which
now you do, so.
Oh, there are at least two people who are curious about what you mean.
Well, now they know.
Well, so yeah, this, I mean, definitely, obviously, the thing here that drew me in is that album cover.
That album cover is fucking awesome,
it's like
dude.
It's like a pulp, like 1940s, like, dude, it's so like cheesy, but fucking just awesome.
Great. Speaking of, they have a deal here where you can buy their digital album. Well, still, digital album and t-shirt for $15. What a fucking deal. Physical album is $5 and digital album is $3. That's awesome.
And these folks, looks like they're from Pennsylvania, so they're on the other side of the goddamn country.
Nah, fuck them. I'm just kidding. Yeah. I'll be on the other side of the country in 2 days.
That's right.
On the 6th, I will be flying out to New York. If anybody in New York wants to say what up, well, I'm going to be in Albany.
Well,
I'll be, I think I'll be in New York City on Wednesday and Thursday. But, I'll mostly be upstate. Yeah. But hey, New York.
Yeah.
What up, New York? What up, the Bronx?
Let's hear it for New York.
My disappointment with you is immeasurable. And my day is ruined. You saw that, right? The review bra thing?
I saw the title of it, but I didn't actually watch it.
I hate you. I hate you so much. I'm going to make you watch it later.
The disappointment is immeasurable.
My disappointment. My deportment.
My deportment is immeasurable.
My disappointment
Pregornerant.
Excuse me?
Pregornant.
That whiskey starting to hit you?
Pregornant. No, I've been really trying not to say that stupid fucking phrase. So that
I was about to say it.
I'm like already like just tired enough to where like I feel that.
Yeah, you're getting those hypnic spazzes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, speaking of learning things about the human body, I learned something that when I learned it, it frankly blew my mind balls all over the place. And I had to call the janitor. No, it was fucking weird. So I've been reading Yoga Anatomy of all things, and there's a whole chapter in Yoga Anatomy on breathing. I might just be the biggest fucking dork in the world right now, but that's okay. I like to keep it raw and personal. I was reading Yoga Anatomy, there's a whole chapter on breathing, and one thing that they talk about is like, essentially they say like, a lot of people seem to think that like, when you breathe, you're actively pulling air into your body, but that's not correct. What you're actually doing instead is your diaphragm is expanding your chest cavity, essentially, and in expanding and opening up your lungs, the atmosphere forces its way into the created negative space.
So it's like a pressure thing.
Yeah.
So it's like.
Now, granted, when you exhale, that's exactly what you think it is. Your body is squeezing the air back out, but your body is creating a space the atmosphere comes into.
Holy shit.
Does that fuck with your head? That messed me up so bad when I read it. I was just like, my bean.
Yeah.
Oh, I blew my bean.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy. That's pretty sick, actually.
Yeah,
I know you offered for me to read that literature, and I wouldn't mind giving it the old skim.
Yeah, dude.
Hell yeah.
When I'm done reading it, for sure.
Yeah.
Which won't be too long because it's like 6 chapters of really cool information over like 90 pages. and then the rest of the pages are pretty much like yoga poses. But what's really cool about it, and I don't want to talk about it too much because wow, what a fucking deluge.
That is interesting though. It's like, yeah, the world
crazy?
is like, it is all about like pressure, and it's just like,
and gravity. And that's a lot of what this book gets into is like pressure and gravity.
and it's like interesting because
They talk about physics, and that's where like the anatomy part comes into. Is like they'll talk about like, you know, when you do an axial rotation, right? So when you're twisting like I am right now, you think like, oh well, yeah, my spine is twisting a certain amount of degrees or whatever, and you can kind of like create that rotation and map it up your spine equally, but that's not really correct because like your lumbar spine only can rotate like 5 degrees, and then as you go up your spine, it can rotate a little bit more. But if you're going any beyond, like I think it's like 75 degrees, then
crazy.
It's all in your hips. So you're like twisting your whole body and not just your spine. And it gets into shit like that, and I just think it's so fucking fascinating.
I said it.
Oh god damn it! Did you mean to?
I kind of like,
Alright,
yeah,
down the hatch.
kind of half meant to,
This
but then I like
smells
immediately fucking regretted it.
This
I
stuff
don't want it
smells
to-
like vanilla Cavendish.
Oh,
Like tobacco.
Oh fuck. Ugh,
Ooh,
not as smooth at all.
no. Oh, that burns.
Not even fucking remotely.
I'm not gonna pour the next one. I'm just hoping we. That was 4, by the way.
With a voice.
Oh, this is badass. I love this.
God, look at this, like just syrup dripping down the
It will
side.
consume your thoughts
Ugh.
and drive you mad.
I already missed my
The
Woodinville
language
whiskey.
it speaks is not your own, but you understand
That's
it,
so
and
sick.
it compels you to follow a path lit only by
But,
the light of a black moon.
Yeah, you know,
Prepare yourself.
that shit is crazy
This
because I
path
just
twists
like,
and turns
I know
without
it's
end.
probably just like a little bit of a
Through the
buzz that's making me think that's
the
so
open
crazy.
No, it's
oh
not.
my god.
You'll think about it tomorrow. Too. I've been thinking about it literally for days.
I just said that's so crazy and I just dodged a fucking bullet
yeah,
because so
accidentally.
separated those fucking
I was gonna
words.
say I haven't pulled another
Oh
shot,
my
and
God.
I really hope I don't have to.
Yeah. Anyways, so no, that it's like that's interesting because like, yeah, when you breathe, it's not like you're like going.
Exactly, and see that's the thing
You're just
too.
like
you
you're
didn't
just
exaggerate.
expanding your diaphragm.
Yeah, you did an exaggerated breath, which just means you're pulling your diaphragm even harder.
Yeah.
Isn't that something?
Whoa, dude, it's like
Your hands can
what is
touch
life,
everything
though?
except themselves.
oh wait.
Yeah. You ever think about the fact that like your hands, you actually don't wash your hands, but your hands wash themselves?
Yeah,
you just
that's badass.
you just kind of observe, watch them do their shit.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
I'm not gonna fucking say
I
the
said,
thing.
isn't that?
I know, but
It's a little different.
my gut reaction, I had to stop myself.
I think very honestly, like all of those really similar ones should have been counted, but I've been pouring very heavy-handed shots on my end.
hey,
I'm
one day
certainly
if
not buzzed, but
we
I'm
can do
feeling
this
the whiskey.
goddamn thing full time and we don't have to fucking work anymore and I can just like be irresponsible as fuck. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't mind
Doing like
just
a 15-shotter.
getting lit and just passing out right here, but
Doing one where by the last entry we're just like, so the name of this band.
yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be dope.
it'd be sick.
That'd be fucking dope. But already, I mean, like, yes, okay, so it's like here we are. I'm a little turned up. Yeah, we've had some shots. We've had some fun times, some conversations.
Shots.
This fucking like I have both my headphones completely on at the moment. This fucking band is so sick.
Yeah, they are.
God, this is badass.
I am 100%. I honestly probably will buy every single album we've reviewed today. But I really want that shirt.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, that shirt is fucking incredible. If it comes in a
cover's so
3X, it will be
fucking
mine. Even if it comes in a 2X, I might. But let's find out. Well, actually, I think if I do that, then it's going to close out the album. So, find out later.
Click on. I want to see that album cover a little closer. If you could like. Click on.
I can absolutely do that.
Yeah.
So
dude,
fucking
That
amazing.
is so fucking cool.
What's so great about this album cover that I like is it reminds me of those mid-century horror movie like posters.
Yeah.
but it's not tongue-in-cheek like one typically is, as much as it's just like overtly badass. Plus, I like all of the cracking.
Also reminds me weirdly
like vinyl cover.
Yeah, and hopefully people get this one, but it reminds me of Sufjan Stevens' album cover. It reminds me of Illinois. It reminds me of the album cover.
Can I be honest with you?
What?
You want something? I've never listened to Sufjan Stevens in my life.
Yeah, love that, man.
I'm very much not kidding.
Yeah, no, I mean,
like you were listening to his music the other day, and I just walked in and like passively ignored it, so I didn't absorb any of it at all.
That's right. I was playing Age of Odds. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've never genuinely listened to his music.
Oh, I love Sufjan. What a.
I'm not at all saying that to say that I wouldn't, but I haven't.
No, I mean it's all good. I mean it's definitely very idiosyncratic, and I'm not at all saying that you're saying that you don't like his music. You're
That
saying
is exactly
you don't,
what I'm saying. No, I'm kidding. You are correct.
Because I mean, what's not to like? No.
Hard point to argue from a complete state of ignoramus.
Ignoramus. Yeah.
Well, I don't fucking know.
Yeah, he's great. But yeah, this album cover reminds me of one of his album covers. I mean, okay, and when I say reminds me of, that's like take that with a grain of salt, because I mean it's very different, but it's like that like playful, like almost like hilarious album cover. And it, like an album cover doesn't have to be like so goddamn serious. Like
nothing has to be fucking serious.
Yeah.
God damn it. So fucking frustrating.
Dude, that production is wicked.
Yeah, I like it. It's really fucking gritty and dirty.
Like hear that like acoustic guitar in the background too a little bit?
Yeah. It slaps. You're gonna produce my album, right?
Yep.
Sick.
Yeah, I guess so. Ooh. Yeah.
Coming out with an album, probably 2020.
What? I was just doing
it.
that. That's interesting. I guess
that was you, wasn't it?
I guess
you just
we
went
kinda,
back and forth on the mics.
Yeah, I guess we kind of felt the same thing. I guess it's. I'm gonna find more. Can you like scroll down a little bit?
No. Okay.
See if there's any more info about this band. Cool.
It's produced by the band. That's cool. What were you trying to find, bro?
Oh, nothing. Just to see if there's any cool tidbits to.
It says the graphic
glean.
design. That's cool.
Yeah, this is just so fucking fat, man. This is badass.
I love it.
See, you know, all this. I've been laying a lot of praise at progressive metal because yes, you know, it's in our DNA. But you know, all that being said, I've expanded.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's.
Keep going.
Awesome. Well, I've expanded personally into many different realms of music and kind of strayed far from progressive metal. And
what
most
you make is about as far from progressive metal as you could get.
Oh yeah, oh god, yeah, that's right. I didn't think about that, but yeah, my own music
make
is
oddly, because it's funny too. Not to interrupt. I'll be quick. Your music and my music separately, very much not progressive metal. I mean, I have some metal aspects, but as a whole, it's progressive rock. Maybe alternative rock with some progressive influence. Yours is not even kind of
fucking close at all.
But when you and I sit down together, we make progressive metal.
It's weird, man. Sometimes I feel like
which is why you say it's in our DNA.
Like, why am I so weird? But then I just love it. I realize that it's just
fucking
great.
awesome. I feel the same way.
You just gotta love yourself, you know, like Justin Bieber. Oh my god, fucking kill me.
I almost said the thing.
Oh my god.
I was trying so hard not to.
I hope I crash on the way home and I die after saying something stupid like that. Anyhow.
You do suck.
Yeah.
You're talking about progressive metal?
Oh yeah, so you know, and there's like the vast majority of progressive metal I hear nowadays, you know, honestly I don't care for it. Because, well, I guess like we were talking at the top of the show, to bookend this whole thing, it's like a lot of it, the vast majority of it is fucking derivative.
It's also really bad.
Yeah, it's just bad. It's a pale imitation of something better.
I wish I didn't feel that. But god damn it, let me tell you, the biggest reason, like, we did progressive rock in episode 4? And honestly, when we did progressive rock, that list was going to be progressive metal. It is now episode 20. It has taken us 17 episodes to do progressive metal. That should really say something. It is a sad thing to be said. Because I have scoured literally hundreds, plural, of progressive metal bands. And I've come up with plenty that I like, but very, very few that I was like, this is awesome. We gave you 3 today. I could maybe at best do this list twice.
Yeah.
Meaning I could at best give you 6 out of hundreds of bands that I've listened to.
Well,
because most of them I can't stand.
To me, it's like the same thing that's going on with like the black metal craze. Like,
really,
like it seems like everybody, like,
there's a lot of bad black metal.
It seems like everybody and their fucking mama has a black metal band nowadays. And like,
yeah, I want to make a point real quick too, and maybe you'll want to touch on this. I don't know, but
okay, touch on that.
Don't stop. Just because the camera's rolling. Okay, so anyways, it's funny. I've been doing that too. It's funny that he's treating his microphone like a periscope. Because that's exactly what it looks like with the big broadcasting arm and the long can shape. Anyways, it's funny that we've done this podcast for, I think, almost 2 years now. And granted, we don't have nearly enough episodes to show for it. And that's very unfortunate to me, and I'd love to change that, but that's not the point. In all of that time, our feedback on everything that we have ever listened to has been overwhelmingly, almost exclusively positive. Oh, suck it, Adobe. Again with Adobe. Again with this. Has been almost exclusively, but certainly overwhelmingly positive. The reason that is that we only choose bands that we like. Now, quite frankly, if we did this list as, let's just say, like a Twitch stream, like we're like, well, we're gonna listen to 5 random bands and see what we think. My God, it would be entirely the opposite. It would be polar opposite, I think, really. In that, I think most of what you would find is we'd listen to a band and be like, well, I gotta listen to the whole song. Listen to the whole song. Well, that was fucking horrible, and I hope I never hear that again. And that's pretty much what the podcast would sound like constantly, except for like 3% of the time. We'd be like, oh, hey, that's cool. I'll save that for later. And that's what doing this list off screen looks like, quite frankly, is finding a bunch of bands that we can't fucking stand and then never listening to them again, and finding a few that we like and hopefully being able to make a list out of it. Progressive metal was just so overwhelmingly either derivative, horrible, or both that it took us this long.
And if you take that personally, then that means you're in one of those derivative bands. So it's like, come on.
And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not sorry about it.
Yeah, it's like,
I'm not trying to say that overtly to be an asshole, but like,
yeah, do some original. Come on,
and I'm not saying
it's not
like
that hard.
I'm not saying that at all for somebody to hear that and be like, well, you probably listened to blah 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 and then said it's shit and now I'm offended by it. It's entirely possible that we never listened to that band in the first place. If you want to talk about it, if you want to show us the band and I know I've heard it and don't care for it, we can have that conversation. But more often than not, that is exactly how this list happened. It has never happened in the history of this podcast ever that we've listened to 3 bands and been, well, that's the list. Never. Not once.
Yeah, we picked the cream of the crop, I think.
And there's been times where, we'd listen to a bunch of bands and all of them were okay. But not very often. But this shit is fucking prime. All 3 of these bands are fucking incredible. Very prog. Very good. Very metal. I strongly recommend all of them. You should buy all of their albums. You should go to all of their shows. Yeah.
Yeah. This is just so badass too, especially, well, I mean, of course, I'm just going to keep raving about the whole playful thing, but it's like, oh man, it's so refreshing to see a band like actually
exist in this, a little bit.
Well,
I
yeah,
don't feel like it as much, but it does.
Yeah, well, and especially with like the album cover, and just like which is interesting was to look at their older album covers. They look kind of like
so much.
a little more serious, or a little more. Well, I don't want to say cheesy. I wouldn't
say that. Yeah,
that sound mean or anything, but it's like it clearly looks to me like it's fun, man. It's just fun.
I love doing this podcast. I absolutely love doing this podcast.
Fun is cool. Evan Halfmann 2019. Fun is cool.
I sincerely hope that if you hear this and you had a good time, you enjoyed everything, share it with your friends, share it with your loved ones, share it with your boss while he's taking a dump. But share it with somebody. I mean, I don't know if we've mentioned this, but Evan and I would really love to move closer and closer to doing this. Like, I mean, I'd love to do this full time, personally. I don't think it's likely, but I'd love to do it full time. But what I really, really greatly want to do is have this be supported enough that I can review on an independent blog with Evan, and we can just review whatever albums we want, where people will send us requests and things, and we can just review everyone and not have to be mutually positive. Mutually positive? You know what I mean. Exclusively positive. But be negative and have our critiques. Because I like being critical. We don't do it on here because
the
we
best
want
part
you guys
about
to like
being critical is that, like, I mean, it's like, dude, that's just your own opinion. I mean, no one should ever take it fucking personally.
Should be apocryphal, yeah.
Yeah, so, you know.
But, yeah, ultimately, I would love for this to take off enough that we could literally afford to do that. Right now it is entirely unrealistic, but I hope someday.
No, that's
at the very least. Yeah, dude. At the very least that we could get a blog off the ground and we could review whoever's music people could submit and everything. That would be sick. Share it with your friends. Share it with your enemies. Share it with everybody.
Especially share it with your fucking enemies. Blow their fucking eardrums out. Shit. Turn it up.
Seriously. Share it with
blow their speakers out in their fucking car or something, you know?
Share it with literally everyone.
Yeah.
Share it with the band. If you happen to know any of the bands, fucking A, share it with them. And if you are one of the bands, share it with them.
And fucking, dude, just like, go fucking drink some Woodinville whiskey.
Oh yeah, drink some Woodinville whiskey. We are not at all sponsored to say that. The minute that happens, I will change my... I will tell you, I promise. I absolutely want to be sponsored by Woodinville Whiskey. I love their whiskey. You've heard it here again. When I am craving whiskey...
I don't drink water anymore. I only drink Woodinville whiskey.
I literally had a blood transfusion to replace all of my blood with brandy. The doctor said, "That's really stupid. You will die." And I said, "Listen here, fuckface. I'm no doctor. Replace my blood with whiskey."
Pussy.
You fucking dickhead.
Oh, man.
You fucking gomer. Replace my blood.
Oh, man.
And I've been a living cask ever since. I should get free whiskey just for that. I ferment whiskey in my body through my bloodstream. My heart has to just be black as the sun. I have a black heart.
Black as the sun.
Did I say black as the sun? Yeah, I've had too much Woodinville whiskey. Drink responsibly and don't smoke meth.
Don't smoke meth.
Don't smoke meth. Also, don't smoke meth and practice safe sex.
Yeah. Okay, everyone.
Or
take
don't.
it easy.
I don't fucking care.
Fuck.
Do whatever you want to do. Put some heroin into your eyes. I was gonna do the rule of threes with that and come up with 3 things, but after saying put heroin in your eyes, I couldn't come up with anything else.
Oh, fuck. I'm about to fucking pass out, so it's time.
Good night, everybody. I hope you had fun with us today, tonight, whatever. Share it with your friends. Bye.
Bye.